So this is not going to be a video where I'm going to be bashing Chris Jericho, not to crap on his AEW run, nothing like that. I think Chris Jericho has had a great career, one of the GOATs, right? He's always found a way to redefine himself, reestablish his character, and he's gone through different gimmicks, he's gone through different stages, probably only wrestler alive to go through all these different gimmicks, right? Rebrand himself. And that's not easy to do that. When you're just known for one thing and people love you for that one thing, it's hard to change that around. It's hard to rebrand it something else because that's what the fans know you by. The most popular that Chris Jericho has ever been in his career personally has been when he was Y2J. The most over he's ever been was when he was Y2J. You know, but now we're in a point in Chris Jericho's run where I feel like now he's being overexposed. This whole learning tree gimmick, it just feels forced. It doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel like it's really going to go anywhere. You know, we know Chris Jericho got complete control over the direction of his character in AEW. I mean, guy was the first AEW world champion for a reason. He was a no name, right? To come into AEW, all elite wrestling, and to set the tone, set the standard for AEW. No one else, they didn't, no one knew anyone else except Chris Jericho and maybe a couple of others like Cody Rhodes and John Moxley, right? But Chris Jericho was the known face that Vince McMahon made, right? But I feel like, man, Chris Jericho is completely played out at this point. There's a reason why everyone is saying for him to please retire. They said the same thing about Big Show years ago. I don't know if you guys remember that. But Big Show was getting that same chant years ago, please retire. You know? Jericho to me is overexposed. The great thing about Chris Jericho in WWE was he wasn't overexposed. And he had great character development, right? He didn't have to undergo all these changes within 1 or 2 years. It's like Chris Jericho in AEW has undergone so many freaking changes. And All Elite Wrestling has only been around for 5 years. It feels like Chris Jericho has overgone 10 different gimmicks in less than 2 years. Of course, I'm exaggerating, but that's what it feels like. 1 minute he's leading a faction, then he's leading another faction, then he's teaming with this guy, that guy. Now he's the learning tree. Oh, now he's the La Champion or whatever the fuck, right? Now he is, one of the sex gods or something, right? With Sammy Guevara. 1 minute he's teaming with that guy, next minute he's teaming with this guy. Chris Jericho right now is just all over the place. And it doesn't feel like a right fit for him to be on TV right now. Like this whole feud with Hook, him aligning himself with Big Cass. I don't know his name in AEW. I really don't care. It just feels forced. Like this is not going to go anywhere. Jericho is on TV just for the sake of being on TV at this point. Um, he just wants to get himself involved, and you got too much talent on the roster for this guy to be taking up all of it. I mean, you have all these talented wrestlers on your payroll, but you're not using them to the best of their abilities. You need to be establishing other talent. This is just another case of Chris Jericho being the seasoned veteran, putting over a younger talent. How many times have we seen that in Chris Jericho, where he is the established veteran, the legend? He's putting over a young guy. He's been doing that ever since he came to AEW. Remember when Ricky Starks beat Chris Jericho? Okay, where is Ricky Starks now? Last time I checked, he was the AEW Tag Team Champion. And then Chris Jericho took his tag team partner. Go figure. Ricky Starks beat Chris Jericho. Like I believe it was Revolution last year. He didn't go anywhere. His career went nowhere. It didn't really transition to main event scene, you know? Or even a Sammy Guevara. Like, I don't know if he beat Chris Jericho at all. I don't know. It seems like his career in AEW just seems to be over, coming to an end. We don't know where he stands, right? But like anybody that beats Chris Jericho now, it really doesn't matter because their career doesn't go anywhere. It's like with Austin Theory when he beat John Cena at WrestleMania 39. His career didn't really go anywhere. He stayed in the mid card. He stayed where he was at. Now he's in the tag team division, which is actually a step down from the mid card. You would think, okay, Austin Theory beat John Cena. He's going on to the main event scene to feud with Cody Rhodes, right? Nope. Nope. I don't know why to this day Chris Jericho defeated Hook. What was to come out of that? First of all, you're holding a championship that's not even relevant. The FTW championship is not a real championship. It's not a championship that wrestlers should want to win. You should, if you're in AEW, you should only want to win the world championship, or at least become an AEW tag team champion, or at the very least become the international champion, right? The TNT championship, yeah, of course, right? The 4 titles in the men's division that means something is those 4 titles, right? Because you got so many people on the roster. It's like not everyone can be in the main event scene and chasing the world title. You got to have a variety of other wrestlers going after the mid card belt as well, and even and then the other championship, the TNT title. But the FTW title, it's not a real championship that is desired to win. I don't even see or understand what the lineage behind the FTW championship is. The only people that I've known to hold that belt was probably Ricky Starks and Hook. But what does that title even really represent? What's the point of someone even winning that championship? To me, the FTW championship is the equivalent to the internet championship, right? That's the equivalent to the 24/7 championship. It has no value. It has no value. The Ring of Honor championship has more value than the FTW championship. So, Chris Jericho holding that title, what does it really mean? What's the value in that? What, he's gonna have big cast help him win all his matches? Okay, is Chris Jericho looking to rebuild another faction in AEW? Is he gonna recruit someone else under the learning tree? Will Hook eventually join the learning tree? I mean, the only way this really makes a lick of sense is if Hook joins Chris Jericho's faction. That would make sense. If you just have Hook just chasing the FTW title and just him losing, okay, what's the point of this? Right? They're better off having Hook turn heel and join Chris Jericho's learning tree faction. And if his and the whole goal for this new gimmick of his for him to keep recruiting guys, recruiting younger talents to, I guess, learn under his tree. Like, what is he gonna call it next? The tree of Jericho? You know what I'm saying? He's gonna want him calling it the tree of Jericho. You know what I'm saying? So he just recruits younger talent to join. If that's not the case, if he's not looking to recruit younger talent into his faction, I feel like this is just a waste of time. And it's just something for Jericho to do to keep himself busy on TV because this just screams, yeah, we have nothing else for this guy to do in All Elite Wrestling. The more interesting stuff in AEW is taking place in the main event scene with the Young Bucks, the Elite, Swerve feuding with Christian Cage and with the Mongol Ambassador, whatever their name is, Ambassador. I can't pronounce their damn name. It's his Mongol faction turning on Swerve and possibly Christian Cage being behind the reason why Swerve's group turned on him, right? And the whole Tony Khan versus the Elite storyline and him recruiting 4 guys to take on the Elite in a 8-man tag match or something. And that's definitely gonna be the blood and guts match for sure. But the stuff with Chris Jericho is not interesting at all. It's not really good. I feel like this is probably the worst that we've seen of Chris Jericho. And this is probably the most underwhelming of all Chris Jericho's gimmicks. This is probably the worst one yet. The worst storyline he's been a part of. I've seen Chris Jericho's career. He's been part of more memorable storylines in WWE and also in AEW. His stuff with MJF was really good. The whole, his 2 factions, right? The Inner Circle, the Jericho Appreciation Society, that was really good. I enjoyed his those 2 runs that Jericho was on, those 2 factions. But this past year just feels like he's coasting along. There's nothing really for him anymore. It's like, all right, dude, your time is up. It's time to get to stepping. You know, I think Chris Jericho needs to retire. It's that time. People are souring on him. It's no longer fun with Chris Jericho. He's just not important anymore. And I feel like the more he's showing his face on AEW, I feel like his legacy will be tarnished. He's overexposed. The one good thing they did with Sting in AEW was that he didn't feel overexposed. He wasn't on TV every week. He didn't have to be on TV every week. Chris Jericho would benefit from not being on TV every week, showing up as he damn well pleased to. Because here's the thing with him showing up whenever he wants, it makes sense for his character. He doesn't have to be there every week. If he took weeks and months time off, and he came back after a couple weeks or maybe a month, it would feel fresh. his presence would feel fresh, his segments would feel fresh, his matches would feel fresh. It's like, okay, we're not sick of this guy yet because he's preserving his he's preserving his presence. He's not overexposed. And that's the problem with Chris Jericho in AEW right now is he's overexposed. So that's it for this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Like the video for the algorithm, subscribe for more content, and I'm out, and peace.